This episode is dedicated to the memory of the late, great Stuart Scott, legendary ESPN sportscaster, prominent member of Alpha Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and as he would say in his own words, cooler than the other side of the pillow. Thank you, Brother Scott, for all the wonderful memories you gave us over the years. May you continue to rest in peace. Also, you guys be sure to check out ESPN's new 30 for 30, Booyah, a portrait of Stuart Scott, now streaming on ESPN+. What's good, y'all? This your country cousin Pete McCorvey, a.k.a. Petey Mac. Man, get on up here, pull you up one, light you up one, kick your shoes off, relax, baby. You around family, we on the porch. It's Pete McCorvey's Porch Talk. Let's do this. What's good, everybody? It's your country cousin Pete McCorvey, a.k.a. Petey Mac, and welcome back to Porch Talk, man. This is going to be the last go-round for not just the fourth season, but for the year 2025. Yep, this is the end of the year. Like Spotify does, this is a wrap-up of basically everything we done, which is coincidentally the same as Spotify giving me my wrap-up, you know. Still, this one comes right on time along with Spotify giving my wrap-up. You know, they gave me my end-of-the-year wrap, and it's crazy because they told me that my listening age was 48 years old. I got the listening the musical taste of somebody who's 48, which I'm not shocked. Hell, I thought it would be like 51, 52, because it said you listen to a lot of stuff from the early 90s. Which I do, because like y'all know, I'm a 90s kid. I came of age in the 90s, you know, watched a lot of TV in the 90s, played video games, got introduced to sports in the 90s, so that was my decade, and it just was great to be a child in the 90s, but it also looked like it was great to be an adult then, because it had me watching TV, seeing sitcoms like Living Single, Martin, Jamie Foxx show, and had me thinking, boy, being an adult is where it's at until I got here, and then everything just went left. People don't know how to talk to each other no more due to social media. The world is way more expensive than it was. Just to take a breath of air is like $25, you know, and if you take a deep breath and exhale, that's gonna run you by $150. So, yeah, but I will say this, coming in my favorite song on Spotify for the fourth year in a row, ever since I discovered in 2022, which I was late discovering, it was Summer Snow by Larry June. So I wasn't surprised on that. But I will say this, I think next year that song is going to be overtaken by Freddie Gibbs' Heaven Can Wait. Yeah, I know I discovered it this year, you know, like 13 years too freaking late. But it's probably going to overtake us. I find myself playing that way more now than I do Summer Snow. So next year, when I do this wrap-up for Spotify, around about this time, expect for Heaven Can Wait to probably take Summer Snow spot, knocking it off its 4-year run. Speaking of music, I almost said music like I'm from Memphis. Speaking of damn, I do it again. Speaking of music, I'm so happy because right before this year end, the Mississippi Big Homie finally released the album after Lord knows how long. Big K.R.I.T dropped some new music. He dropped Dedicated to K.R.I.T. That's his new album he got on there. It was 17 tracks, but it was like 31 minutes. But he had a lot of like interludes and stuff in there. But I mean, hey, it took me back to like he had that real Southern fried vibe on that, like that Texas shit, that Memphis shit. He was like in his pocket. He was in pocket with everything he was doing, man. I loved it, but what I really love about this album, he had Carlos Miller. Y'all know Carlos Miller from the 85 South show podcasts and comedy shows with Chico Bean and DC Young Fly. He had him on there, and I got so hyped because if y'all don't know, Carlos Miller is a native of Oxford, Mississippi. So that's why I like him, because I love seeing him Mississippi. But not only that, I actually, got to know Carlos. I ain't say he like my homeboy. I know we kick it like Goodfella, but like when I lived in Atlanta, I literally see him around, have conversations with him and everything. And I knew he was a superstar then. But to know I was like, he's on now, he a mega star, boy, that makes my heart smile. That somebody that I know and I used to talk to is there doing big things. Like I can tell I've told people I was in the Navy with, they see pictures of me and him back there, like, oh man, you knew Carlos Miller? I'm like, yeah, I knew him. They're like, damn, bro. Like, yeah, so just see him. I'm happy. So that album got a 10 for 10 out of me, man. I loved every bit of it. On the NFL football, man, my Broncos, we still on the road, baby. One of the best records in the NFL, definitely the best record in the AFC and the AFC West. Sitting at 11-2 after defeating our AFC arch rivals, the Oakland Raiders, 24-17 this past Sunday. Man, I am so happy to see these Broncos doing that. Like I said, after what I went through with Florida State, I'm just glad my Broncos give me what I need, man. They on the road. Bo Nix on the road. Pat Surtain is back doing his thing. It's a beautiful time to be a Bronco fan, man. It's a beautiful time to be a Bronco, but what is not a beautiful time to be, it's not a beautiful time to be a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Our other AFC West rival, they failed to the Texans 20-10, and that put them out of contention for the AFC West title. I just don't know what is going on. Them and the Eagles, I don't know how these two teams were in the Super Bowl last year. Now it's looking like they were never no damn championship contending team. Yeah, the Chiefs just been hurting real bad. Also in the AFC, the Cleveland Browns, they lost a nail biter to the Tennessee Titans 29-31. Shador Sanders was in there. He was doing his big one. He got him down the field. They scored at the last second. Coach Kevin Stefanski, I don't know what he was thinking, took Shador out when they was going for the 2-point conversion, out for some goofy-ass wildcat formation, and they lost the game. Now, to me, honestly, that's reminiscent of Pete Carroll with Marshawn Lynch in the Super Bowl back in 2015. I know the year was 2015 because I was on deployment. I can't remember the number of the Super Bowl, but I know it was 2015 because I was on deployment getting DMs from somebody, and I couldn't even believe when the person, after they told me Seattle was on the 1, and I'm like, oh, that's it, Beast Mode got this right up the middle. And then I hit them up, I said, who the MVP? And they like, no, New England intercepted the ball. I'm like, the fuck? You what? So yeah, that was Kevin Stefanski pulled a Pete Carroll Super Bowl in 2015. And y'all I want to talk to these coaches. If you got a problem with that player or something like that, call them in the office, shoot them fuck out. Don't mess up your win-loss column trying to be passive aggressive and send a message. That just put something else before that. I just really didn't like that. That was bad. That's bad form. College football, I want to give a shout out and a thank you on behalf of a grateful nation to the Georgia Bulldogs for beating the Alabama Crimson Tide in the SEC title game 28-7. Boy, y'all don't know how much the nation love y'all for that, because, boy, let me tell you something. Alabama Crimson Tide has one of the most obnoxious fan bases. So to see them shut up, it was a beautiful thing. However, that didn't shut them up too long, because even with Alabama being 10-3, y'all, Do you know that the CFP still managed to have them get into the playoffs? How they got into the playoffs is beyond me. Over 10-2 Notre Dame. And everybody was sitting there hollering, well, Notre Dame, yeah, they need to get in the conference. They need to do this and all that. Y'all need to stop that. Because, you know, when Miami was in the early 2000s winning titles, they was in the fucking Big East. And nobody was in the Big East to contend with Miami for football. Yeah, I feel like this. If they gonna do this, because Alabama has found a way to sneak in every time this shit happens. If they're gonna do this, they might as well get rid of the damn CFP and just go back to the BCS shit the way they used to do, the automatic bids. Because they keep trying to put Alabama in, and Alabama still can't get to the big dance. They trying they damnedest. I don't know what the hell. I guess they still think this is the time of Bear Bryant back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and a little bit in the 80s, and a time when Nick Saban running the tape right before the playoff system came into play. But, like, yeah, I'm like, bro, people are tired of seeing Alabama. And I ain't gonna lie, if Georgia don't be careful, people probably gonna get tired of seeing y'all too. But, yeah, that's a blatant FU to Notre Dame and Vanderbilt. Now, James Madison and Tulane, I didn't even know James Madison that I got up there and they was playing football like that. In Tulane, I'm kind of happy to see Tulane. You know, I'm from the Gulf Coast. Actually used to live in New Orleans for 2 years. My mom was going to Tulane to get her master's. I actually started my elementary school career right there in Robert Lusher Elementary, uptown New Orleans. So I'm fucking with Tulane being there. But, you know, it's good to get there. But now the biggest shocker of me of all, the people that got in, I think they was number 2 in the nation, and I still would have never saw this in a million years. You would have told me this. I would have thought you telling me this is their ranking for basketball. I'm like, no, this basketball season ain't here yet. And that is the Indiana Hoosiers. And they got an automatic bid to the second round. They got to buy it to the second round. Like I said, the transfer portal and the NIL has changed up so many things, and the whole landscape of college football as we've known it for over the last, I'm gonna say 30, possibly 40 years. So yeah, but like Bama getting in, like, I don't care how you slice them boys, they deserve to get in. Speaking of NILs, Florida State Seminole quarterback Tommy Castellanos tried to appeal for another year eligibility for the NCAA, and it was denied. And I'm gonna tell y'all how I feel about this. The boy don't deserve another year. And I know what y'all gonna say, and I'm admitting, I was saying he was him at the beginning of the year. I was singing praise. I thought that FSU, we found our new savior and everything, quarterback, and he was going to be there. But that boy really had that one game against Bama and didn't produce nothing else. And he really trying to get him another year of eligibility because he know he ain't going to get drafted. Because after this crappy ass year he had, he's not going to get drafted. Hey, bro, charge to the game, take the L, move on. Like a lot of people were saying on the social media page, you just need to try Canada because the NFL is not for you. It's not. I don't think the NFL is gonna happen for you, dog. Like, you had a good career everywhere you've been, but it's time to go ahead and move on. And everybody from Florida State saying that Mike Norvell needs to ride with Sperry because he keeps doing this. I'm gonna be honest. From what I've seen Mike Norvell do with Sperry for every transfer portal quarterback come, he's doing Sperry like how Coach Eric Taylor used to do Matt Saracen on Friday Night Lights television series. Matt Saracen was his go-to. Like, bust his ass for Coach Taylor. Won him a state title. First season that Coach Taylor was coaching the Dillon Panthers. But every time some new flash in the pan quarterback, hot shot quarterback coming along, he'll just put Matt Saracen to the back like he ain't never did shit for him. And that seems like what Mike Norvell is doing with Spirit. So Mike Norvell, don't put no Eric Taylor on Friday Night Lights with the Dillon Panthers, man. Go to the dance with the one you brought, man. And give Spirit a chance. Now I'm going down to high school football. I know I ain't really did this much on high school football, but the two schools I'm going to report on, I kind of got like a personal interest to them. The first one I'm going to talk about high school football from down on the Gulf Coast by my way, like 30 miles west of where I'm from. Actually, my high school used to play them a lot back when the highest classification in the state of Mississippi was 5A. They was like our district, one of our district rivals. And that's the Gulfport Admirals, who now at 7A. The Gulfport Admirals have won the Mississippi High School 7A football title over Tupelo High School 21-20. And they won it on a Hail Mary pass as time is by. Dude, I seen the clip. It looked like some shit out of a Walt Disney movie. Remember the Titans or something like that. They caught it in the end zone, tied the score of 2020. Of course, they made the field goal. But that is, it's a way to, just so happy to see a team from the coast win the state, because it's been gone from the state for 3 years. Last time it was down there, it was 2022, won by Picayune High School, who actually went back-to-back because they had won it the year before 2022 and 2021, so they won it back-to-back. So it's good to see the state title back on the Gulf Coast. And congrats to the Gulfport Admirals for a wonderful season and getting the job done. Other team I'm going to talk about, we're going to take it out west to Washington State. And this is for the 3A WIAA state championship football game between O'Day Catholic of Seattle and Mount Tahoma of Tacoma. Now, I know about Mount Tahoma because, like y'all know, I used to live in Tacoma. And Mount Tahoma was a high school that a lot of guys I knew in Tacoma, a lot of them either went to Lincoln or a lot of them went to Mount Tahoma, or Mount T as they call it. And a few might have went to Falls and watched it, but majority of my homies out there, they went to either Lincoln or they went to Mount T. So Mount T ended up going to the state title game where they played O'Day Catholic, which is a powerhouse in the Puget Sound for both football and basketball. And unfortunately, they weren't like the Gulfport Admirals. I can't say somewhere I used to, both places I used to live, ended up getting a state title. Mount Tahoma fell 21-14 to O'Day Catholic. But still, that is nothing to sneeze at for them young men who was on that team. Hold your heads high and, take pride in what y'all did. Y'all almost brought something back. Y'all brought a lot of pride to Pierce County because the bar I used to go to up there, I saw they was throwing a watch party and everybody was around the TV. It looked like how you see movies like y'all remember Hoosiers. When they were playing state title, you saw everybody in all the towns across Indiana gathered around the radio to listen to the game. That's how it looked in that bar I used to go to. So big up to them. But it brought up a big complaint from people because people were saying they didn't like how a private school who can handpick their roster was able to play in the same league as a public school who pretty much got to work with what they got, whatever local neighborhood kids there. But that's the name of the game now. With not NIS, with AAU, and then a lot of this recruitment that's going on. Because here's the thing, recruiting in high school has been going on for a long time. Anybody say it hadn't, you a damn lie. They've been doing it, especially because a lot of people I know, they're like, man, they sitting there doing all this. And they can handpick. I said, then y'all better not never take y'all ass to Texas then. Because they stay doing that in Texas with football. And probably not looking like basketball, but definitely football, Texas stay doing that. Stay giving fake addresses or just put a mailbox up in an empty lot and let the kid, and that's the kid's address and he can go to school there and play. But such is life, man. That's high school football. Well, like I said, wish Mount T could have brought it home for Tacoma and Pierce County, but you know, that's life. Life ain't always, we don't always get what we want out of life. Now move on to college basketball. You know, it's my favorite time of the year. My Duke Blue Devils are still on the road, still 10-0 with their recent win against Michigan State, 66-60. Cameron Boozer, you know, Carlos Boozer's son, he dropped 18 in that win. Mike Krzyzewski, or Coach K as you know him, he left the Duke program in great hands because John Shire is just, hey, he didn't miss a beat. He carried the torch from Coach K, and he still got Duke looking good. So Durham is in good hands. You know, Cameron Indoor Stadium is in good hands. Still got to figure out. I don't know how. Before I leave this earth, I got to figure out a way to get to a UNC Duke game in Cameron Fieldhouse. Now, my other team that I like, if you know me, y'all know I like the Georgetown Hoyas as well. They doing pretty decent this year. They 6-3, but unfortunately, they lost to who I just mentioned, Duke's rival, UNC Tar Heels, 61-81. But UNC is ranked number 16 in the nation. But to see Georgetown actually having a winning record, it looked like there's some hope on the horizon. And I'm gonna say this about Georgetown before I move on. I don't know who we need to talk to for ESPN, Netflix, whatever streaming service we need to talk to. Why in God's name do we not have a 30 for 30 on Coach John Thompson and his tenure as the Georgetown Hoyas coach? You know, his 80s Hoyas, early 90s Hoyas. I mean, you can cover from like when Pat Ewing got there in 81 and ended when Iverson left in 96. That would be perfect. Call it maybe Hoyas or Hoya Paranoia, or Hoyas from Ewing to Iverson or something. But we need something on them. We got one on the U. We got one on Pony Express from SMU. You know, we got a lot of stuff on other sports programs that, you know, represented winning and toughness and, you know, did things for style and culture, but we ain't got nothing on the Georgetown. We need something for them, man. And I'm going to need for ESPN, Netflix, whoever to see about getting that man and his Hoyas a document, because it's long overdue. It's long overdue. Now, something that it wasn't long overdue, but it came to an end. It's the end of something good, man. One can say, I can't say end of an era because I don't want to use that term, but something good that I have been watching came to an end, and that is Bel-Air. After 4 seasons, Bel-Air finally wrapped it up with his last block of episodes, which was 3 episodes streamed on Peacock this past Monday. Man, it was good to watch. I'm gonna say this: they wrapped it up good. I still would have liked them to push it out to 2 more episodes. Could have gave us a 10 episode season, but they hit their mark on everything. They wrapped it up perfectly. But I'm sad to see it go. But the way it ended pretty good. One thing I'm happy about: Coco Jones is back. Hillary came back. She returned from DR, and she was looking real islandy, and I was here for it, boy. Ooh, she was looking real good. She's refreshed. She done healed from, the death of LaMarcus. She's moving forward with it and everything. Now, when we last left, and this is one thing I liked about Hillary, when we last left, Viv looked like she was having some medical issues, that comes with her having a geriatric pregnancy. They ended up calling the doctor in there. The doctor kind of like, oh, you're fine and all that. And Hillary told Vivian, said, no, you know your body. You need to do this. And come to find out, Vivian had some other type of medical condition and all that. And I like what the writers on on Bel-Air are doing. They raise a lot of stuff for black people, like, you know, like education, you know, code switching. But this is number one thing, because a big thing in medicine is that black pregnant women, they seem to suffer, and they are more, you know, prone to dying than any other race, because like they pretty much just, I've heard horror stories about black women going into labor. So I love how they touched on that. Like, no, don't let no doctor say you fine, whatever, whoop de whoop de whoop. If you think something wrong, you need to handle that. So I love that they was telling black women, like, no, if you think something wrong, fuck with that doctor telling you, you need to go get you a second opinion or something and tell them what's going on. But the thing they also, I like what they did in this last block. So y'all know that Will and Carlton, they're deciding to go kind of like Will. I told y'all Will didn't get into USC like he wanted, but he got into a fictional college they made up. It was in Orange County called Stapleton University, getting a full ride, but was telling the coach what he wanted to do. And the coach like, look, man, basketball your big priority. Fuck your education. And Will just wasn't like no, I want to go somewhere where y'all gonna value. I get my education, cause you know I like how Will is like grounded. Like I don't have my sights on trying to go to the NBA. Like that's a 1 in a million shot. So he decides to not take that scholarship. And Carlton, even though he's been always wanting to get into Princeton and everything, Carlton finally came to Phil and told him, he was like, you know, I'm tired of like being like the only ink in the milk. He said, I've sat there, don't really know who I am. He said, I let these white boys get away with saying the N-word too much. He says, I just didn't like doing that and having to do all of this. Basically told Phil, I'm just kind of tired of always having to be a shining example, because I don't want them to I'm tired of them looking at me as the exception, because I don't want them to look at me as the stereotype. So this is one thing I love, how they got the true vibe of the old show, but it's not going to always be like this. So in a turn of events, Will ends up applying for Penn. I mean, he had to go move heaven and earth, get a lot of recommendations, a lot of stuff to try to get a shot at Penn, which he, like, Will bust his ass to do it. He went and talked to Doc, his old coach at Zenith, and then Kareem's dad, the one that helped him throw the black homecoming event. He was talking to him, and that man tried to just brush him off, but what's that lady's name? But the janitor who works there, who y'all seen Will interact with, she told him, she said, look, I've been running this hall for 20-something, working these halls and doing 20-something years. She said, everybody walks past me and act like I'm not here. Said, Will at least ask me how I'm doing, ask about my kids, ask about my husband. He said, I've seen you do so much for kids who got everything for them. She said, now here's a young man who doesn't have. She said, you can either open that door or you can be another obstacle in this path. And that right there was a prime example of what they say. You can walk with kings, but you never lose the common touch, y'all. And you always treat everybody with dignity, whether it's the janitor or the CEO. Treat them with dignity. Because that woman saved Will and helped him secure a scholarship to Penn University, the Penn in Philadelphia, the Ivy League school. He decided to go to Ivy League school. And like I was saying about Carlton, he said he was tired of doing all that. He's tired being a token Negro. Carlton actually ended up choosing Morehouse, which is pretty good, because like everybody like HBC, like Ashley even said, we're attending the Ivy League and Carter attending the HBCU. He's like, that's kind of back, but like Morehouse is what I always consider the Ivy League, one of the Ivy League schools at the HBCUs. Like, to me, the Ivy League, the HBCUs are, and it's not always, I want everybody to get mad if I miss one. It's Howard, Hampton, Tuskegee, Morehouse, Spelman. Those are the Ivy Leagues of the HBCU. So you go there, people already look like, ooh, you. So I like how they did that and they twisted it up. Now, the thing that kind of threw me for a loop, so y'all saw what Phil was doing, we thought that he had set Jazz up and all that. Phil did all that on purpose so he could have the feds catch what he was doing for Dominique to get her thrown in jail. And he ended up cutting the deal with the FBI. Because I remember Lisa's father, I think he's the chief of LAPD. And he put some strings working with them and ended up cutting the deal and participating with LAPD. And they ended up bringing Dominique down. There was no get back. Nobody got hurt. Jeffrey came to him and they were able to meet. As a matter of fact, Vivian, how we knew that everything was going on, Vivian actually gave birth to the baby. She was a little girl, which kind of confused me as a little girl, but she said after she delivered the baby, who, by the way, I left this out. Hillary, after the medical debacle, she introduced her to what is a doula. I know what a doula is because I had a friend of mine. She's a doula. She's a lot of black women got them because they want black women to make sure they got great prenatal care and all that, and they give birth. Who was played by Janet Hubbard. For those of y'all don't know that name, that's the original Black Bill, or the dark-skinned Black Bill, or the Black Hand Bill, as everybody say. The one who had flavor, the one who wasn't afraid to get in nobody's face and afraid to tell you how it was. So she delivered the baby. The baby was a little girl, and that kind of threw me for a loop, but I remember Viv, I was talking about something for all her kids. Her mom was there. She had just lost her mom. So she said she was going to name the baby Nicolette. Baby Nikki. So that's why I was saying they still giving the original callbacks and flavor of the OG series, but they putting their own little spin on it. And I like how they changed it up a little bit. But to show that everything was cool, at baby Nikki's christening, we found out that Jeffrey was going to be the godfather and Will's mom, Vi, was going to be the godmother. Which I be finding that weird that people be having their uncles and aunties as a godmother. I don't understand that. That's just weird to me. But that happened. Y'all pay attention to old shit. That happened too. But it was just let them know we all good. We still gonna be family. After grad night, the grad night lock-in, they had a grad night lock-in, which a lot of schools do. Lisa and Will's relationship is tested when they had this thing called Smash. I swear on these shows, these kids be wild. They be out in the open, talking about it, putting it on their phone. Boy, we had to be clandestine as hell. We had to be sneaky. They talking about who they want to partner off with, so Will goes off with this girl named Tidra, who happens to also be going to Penn. And Lisa goes off with Kareem. For some reason, Will lied and said that him and Tidra got it in. And of course, that caused a rift between them, and I guess him and Lisa break up. Now, Amir and Carlton, they got mad because they was voted the best couple at Bel-Air Prep. They went and they almost eloped, but luckily, Via went in labor and stopped them two dope heads from making a damn excuse, from stupid ass excuse. Not excuse, for making a stupid ass mistake. They just, oh my God, like them dope, that dope has fried their brains. Ashley, like they started to give her, I'm glad they finally gave her some more to do in these last few episodes. So she was dating, I know little boy Eli, she was dating. He wore a skirt to school, and one of the administrators got mad and said, you can't wear that. And he said something that kind of didn't sit right with me. I didn't understand. I was like, he said his pronouns are he and they. I'm like, how or you identify as a man and non-binary? I don't know, because I know it's either you, he, his, and him and all that, and it's either them, they, and theirs. So I'm like, how are you, he, and I ain't gonna lie to you. That character been full of shit since he got introduced. But Ashley, it prompted her to write a letter saying, it was in the same spirit of Jane Baldwin's letter to my nephew. But she called a letter to my sister, for baby nigga. She was talking about how to move as a black person in predominantly white space. And it also gave way to her saying she wanted to go to another school, call back to the OG series, and she found some artistic, kind of public school, because she just didn't want to be there anymore. And we find out that Will is leaving Bel-Air. He's going to leave sooner for Penn than expected. He's trying to get in a summer business program to get ahead of the curve. That way when basketball season comes, he doesn't get boggled down. Because if you was a D1 athlete, or if you talk D1 athlete, that shit is like a job on top of going to school, and that will wear your ass out. So he has to leave right after graduation. So they throw a party for him. But before him, they throw a party for his graduation. Him and Carlton decide to have one little camping trip by themselves. They go off to the beach about an hour or so away. But luckily, Amira and Lisa end up intercepting it. And that was put in play by Carlton and Amira. That was revealed after we saw them in the tent and they got it in. With them both being crazy and dope heads, I bet they sex was probably off the chain. They revealed that they did that so they could talk. So Lisa and Will, they said, look, it is what it is. Lisa was like, it's nothing for you to take a train ride from Philly to DC to come see me. So, they just like, hey, we're growing, move on. It kind of was reminiscent of Forever on Netflix. It's like, I love you and I'ma always remember you, but we got to move on. And if life wanted to happen, we'll find our way back. So I like how they did that. And then it ends with, after they do the party for Will, they show Will's graduation speech. Then they show him packed up in Jazz. Is prepared to take Will to the airport, but Carlton decides he's gonna spend a few weeks in Philly with Will, and then they drive off. And like I said, it ended beautiful. The last scene of the show, it had Jazz, Will, and Carlton overlooking, the skyline for Los Angeles. And Will has said something. He was like, they say this city will change, but I think it just make you come out here and just let go of who you trying to be and let you just be your true self. I don't know about all that, because, a lot of people in California go out there and they just try to become the most artificial plastic version of who they think they supposed to be. But I feel what he's saying, you can't go out there, because like I said, there's a lane for everybody in California. Everybody, you don't have to be like a person who's a vibe, a person who's fresh to death out there. If you get in where you fit in out there. But what really drove it home for me was when last scene, Will's looking over downtown LA by himself. And then we see the real Will, Big Willie from Philly, Willard Smith Jr., Mike Lowry, Agent J, Captain Steve Hillard. Man, that's what Independence Day. You got to know. You got to be a '90s kid to know who Steve Hillard is. He comes up. He talks. Said, "You all right?" He said, "Man, look like you having a moment. I ain't gonna stop me out to your boys." He's like, "Hey, man, you gonna do some dumb shit." He said, "We gonna be all right." So that was pretty much older Will talking to his younger self, because then when Carter like, "Hey, what's going on?" He said, "Oh, I'm talking to OG right here," but there was nobody there. So that was him from the future talk, and then it just ended beautiful. beautiful. Like I said, I was skeptical in 2022 when they said they was bringing it back. I said, I'm going to watch it just to see how it's going to be. Fell in love with it from the start. Fell in love with all the Easter eggs, the callbacks and everything. Because from the moment they had the show, when Will was on the plane, and they showed him taking a flight, and they showed the glass with the orange juice, I said, oh man, that's these people. Yeah, you got to really know. So it's really for people who watch the show. But what got me, when I say callbacks, the 3 callbacks that got me were, number one, they brought Tyra Banks back. You know, she came back and she was Vivian's sorority DP when she was pledging. She was a Congresswoman who commissioned her for her to do a painting, and then she did that iconic scene where her and Will was talking at the same time. You ain't never gonna change. Oh, I'm getting last word. Oh no, you're not. Yes, I am. Damn. And I love they did that. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what was up with that Mary Tyler Moore from Dick Van Dyke 1962 hairstyle that Tyra had. And then I didn't know Tyra looked like Tyra got a thing on her now. That thing looked like it was thinging behind Tyra. But I love that callback. The second callback I loved was, if you seen the last episode, was like the scene before the last scene of the OG series, when Will said, I always saw myself as one of your kids, to Uncle Phil, and Uncle Phil said, you just make sure you have your butt by phone every Sunday when I call. Phil updates that and tell Will, you just make sure you have your phone is charged. And the last callback I love was this, when Will was giving this speech. He was like saying, and when things go wrong, he said, and when your life gets turned upside down, I was like, oh my God, it was beautiful. But I loved all those callbacks. But this is one thing I've loved about the whole series. Whoever is on that production team or producer has got to be a prominent member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, my frat, because they was throwing Alpha Phi Alpha out there a lot. Like, even had Will, when he was trying to put the swallowing on Baby Nikki, had an A5A t-shirt on. But then again, like I said, Adrian Holmes, he just became a legit middle Alpha Phi Alpha this past year. But they was like prominently featuring Alpha Phi Alpha a lot. Matter of fact, one of the steppers from last season, when they went to that little resort, Viv and Phil went to the resort where they friends with swingers. One of the brothers on there is a legit stepper. This man, his name is Brother Vernon Jackson. This man has stepped on everything. A Different World, Arsenio, the Pledge episode from the OG series was Carlton got called Uncle Tom. So somebody up there is big A5A, and I'm for it, man. But yeah, man, this was the end of something. Great 4 years of black magic. And I'm going to be honest, that last scene we saw where Will was with Carlton and Jazz looking over Los Angeles, and he was like dreading leaving Cali, and how he was like all that, and everybody was talking about they was going to miss him. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, when I first got to Cali, it was difficult for me. But the way Will felt about leaving Cali, I'm not going to lie, that's the way I felt when I left Cali. Because, yeah, it's full of, like, a lot of superficial people. It's weird. It's expensive as hell. But it's just, once it's in you, it's in you. Like, hell, a lot of my friends told me the way I'm just relaxed and I wear flannels and stuff, and sometimes you hear some of my words, some of the words I say, like I spell like way I enunciate my R's, like I don't say car no more, I say car. And like I said, I don't say homie, I say homie. It'll get into you, you can't get over it. So the way Will's face would look like I gotta leave all this behind, I get it, Will. But to Jabari Banks, who played Will, and the rest of the crew, the writers, the producers, the directors, And even some of the artists, because I found out about a lot of music from this show. I want to say thank y'all for 4 years of something great. I'm never going to forget it. I'm probably going to be something I binge watch every now and again. So yeah, that was something great to look at. Did the wrap up of that. Now we're just gonna wrap this year up, man. This year was wild, man. Like, you know, I got to travel internationally. Like, I got to go to Cape Verde, which is like a country off the west coast of Africa. Pretty much, I'm not gonna lie to you, it was like a baby Brazil. See all them beautiful black women there speaking Portuguese, and they were just, oh my God. And they all was in shape too. And it was one at my hotel. I think she had a little crush on me. I could never find a way to like get her to see what was happening, but boy, cause she showed every time I went to breakfast, she showed remember my room. Now she come to, oh, you in room such and such, such, and I was just like, yeah, I thank for remembering. I'm like, nah, you ain't had me write it down. You remember my room. I could never catch her by herself though. She was always one of her coworkers. I was always with my people. I was trying to catch. Cause this thing about me, I don't do that shoot my shot not open. I'm a silent assassin, baby. You know, you ain't gonna never see me coming. I move like with the night, you feel me? I move in darkness. But just to be out there, it was beautiful beaches, nice, beautiful weather. Like I said, beautiful black people. It was amazing. I also got to go to Germany twice this year. Both times was to Munich. Once was to Nuremberg. And from what all my friends and family who were stationed in the Air Force and the Army told me, they're like, oh, they love black men out there in Germany. Them German women love them. I'm like, yeah, man, whatever. They were not lying. Boy, I felt like a king out there. Because I'm one of them people. I don't believe in that passport bro shit. Oh, they don't treat you. Because I'm like, man, they don't fuck with you in the States. They don't fuck with you overseas. But Germany, no, they love black men. And I never felt so valued before. A lot of great television and film came out. One being Sinners. Sinners was, oh yeah, Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler hooked up with some magic with Sinners this year. And I was here for it. Also with television, Forever. You know, that was on Netflix. That series, loved every bit of that. Like I said, the writing was great. The representation of black people that was not like ghetto or ratchet. And then, like I said, on top of that, the music. Like I said, shout out to that music director because he did his big one. And speaking of music, great music was released. Larry June, he gave us 2 of them things this year. The first one he gave us with 2 Chainz and The Alchemist, and that was Life is Beautiful. Then he came back and gave us, he hooked it up with the Kobe to his Shaq. When I mean by Cardo Got Wings, and gave it to The Night Comes, 50 in the City was on there, boy. Oh man, yeah. And also with the person who kind of in that same realm of type of music he got Jay Worthy, aka P Worthy. He gave us a double up with Once Upon a Time 1 and 2. And the last great piece of music we got, it just got released this past week. The big homie from Mississippi, Big K.R.I.T. Like I already mentioned at the top of this show, his album he released, dedicated to Catalina Baritz. Hey man. Oh man, like I said, music was on point, man. Like it was a good year of music. I mean, we had a lot of deaths. We lost a lot of people, but the one that really just knocked me on my ass, because I just was like, I was such in shock about it, and I'm still just can't believe that it happened, is we lost Malcolm Jamal Warner, who is most famously known for playing Theo Huxtable on the groundbreaking black 80s and 90s sitcom, The Cosby Show. I'm still a loss for words for that one. Like I said, of all the losses we took this year, that's the one that had my jaw drop. I don't know if I ever come to terms with that. He was too young at 54 and looked like he was too vibrant. Too young and too vibrant to lose his life. The year, well, like I said, looking good and everything, but took a major personal setback. I'm getting it back on track, and it's going to be an uphill battle for that one. But I just got it. This is a test that God has given me, and I just want to say this, and I said it before in another episode. God, I don't want no more tests for a minute. Like 2026, man, go test somebody else. Test one of your other children. I'm not strong. I like that song say, I am tired. I am weak. Like, you know what I'm saying? Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on. But just don't test me no more, man. I'm tired of testing. That's why I ain't go to grad school. I'm tired of taking the test. So, yeah, it's a big loss. But I had another big loss, but this was positive. So I lost 20 pounds this year. Went from 195 to 175. Now, I don't be thinking I'm seeing results or anything, because I think I might got body dysmorphia. For those of y'all who don't know, you slow motherfucker, that's a way of saying you just real critical about your body. But a co-worker of mine yesterday, very beautiful chocolate sister. I'm not trying to hit on nothing. She just good people, because she got a man. Love her man to death, but still, she told me, oh my God, you got skinny, I'm proud of you. So yeah, did all that. So I'm working on it now. Next year, I'm going to try to get to, my goal is to get to like 160, 155, hopefully maybe 150. I don't want to get too skinny again, because I was getting played, being a little chubby. But like I told y'all before, I just got to lose these weight because I don't want breasts. And I don't care how much the ladies love it, I don't like having breasts. And I told you I won't like having breasts, because I don't want them grabbing on it, and I don't want to know if I like it. I don't need to know if that's a kink of mine. Anyway, that's been my time. I know I kept y'all here for an hour, but this is the wrap up, man. I had a great time talking to you. Hopefully, y'all had a great time kicking and listening with your cousin on the porch, man. You want to find me. You can find me on Facebook. Petey Mac 89. I mean, not Pete Mac 89. Pete McCorvey on Facebook. I'm jumping ahead of the gun. You can find me on Instagram. That's Petey Mac 10, PETEY MAC10. Y'all can also find me on TikTok. That's Petey Mac 89, same as Instagram, but drop the 1 and the 0, add 8 and the 9. Man, I hope y'all have a wonderful Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Probably gonna holler back at y'all sometime after Super Bowl, probably when March hits and all that. We'll chop it up on the porch again. Y'all know y'all pull y'all up one, light y'all up one. We gonna sit there, we gonna shoot the shit like we always do. But until the spring, y'all, be calm. Be cool, stay calm, and get paid. I'll holler at y'all in 2026. Peace.